Hi there, welcome back to another story. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to go to my mother's wedding and saying that I didn't give a damn who she married? Backstory. Me, 16 male, mother has always preferred girls over boys. Maybe it's because she can relate to them better or just natural preference. I was her second boy out of 5 kids. My older brother moved away and nobody has any real contact with him. She was very neglectful towards me and never went to my soccer games or showed any interest towards me. My parents divorced when I was 10 because my father drinks a lot and all the kids got to choose whom they lived with. My older sisters chose mom and I chose dad. It became sort of a parent-trapped situation because my mother and sisters then moved to the States while my father and I remained in England. None of us get to see each other because of the distance and also because of the virus. Anyway, moving on to now. My mother is getting married to this guy from work and hopes to be married by 2021, sometime in February. She and my dad were on the phone the other day and she was apparently talking about how she wanted to be right by her side during the ceremony and then asked to talk to me about it. My dad called me into the room, but I refused to talk to her. The thing is, I don't want to go to my mother's wedding. I don't care about her and I don't give a damn about the guy she's shacking up with. My father is telling me that I'm being cruel for not giving my mother that happiness and is willing to drag me over to the States himself if I don't agree to go. Every time we talk, he says stuff like, "Your mother loves you and you're a brat for not going." My mother, on the other hand, has been calling and sobbing about how she tried her best to raise me, but she couldn't force herself to do anything, which I assume means that she couldn't force herself to care for me. I plan on showing my father this thread when it's all said and done. So honest opinions, am I being the a-hole for not going to my mother's wedding? Now for the top of comments. Not the a-hole. She tried her best to raise me, but she couldn't force herself to do anything, which I assume means that she couldn't force herself to care for me. Wow. That's a horrible thing for someone to say to their own child to begin with. But saying it and then immediately demanding the child force themselves to care for her? This selfishness is galling. It sounds to me like she just wants the happy family wedding pictures. You are being emotionally strung along by your mom, and if her past behavior is any indication, she will drop you again after you serve that purpose. I think you are wise to protect yourself, and shame on your dad for not having your back and protecting you as well. Not the a-hole. That comment really stuck out. Being neglectful to your kids is inexcusable, but in order to be at the neglectful level, she had to force herself. So what level of neglect would have happened if she didn't force herself? OP, I know you're a minor, but try to see if your dad can set up some type of family counseling or even private counseling for you. You are in very turbulent times and need help to process all this and not let it be carried into your adulthood. I love you, but actually not really, because I'm an asshole who decided to tell you to your face that I arbitrarily decided you weren't worth the effort because I'm selfish. Not even a mediocre parent would think of saying something like that to their child. Not the a-hole. She didn't try her best to raise you, she neglected you. And when she realized she can get rid of you, she ran away from her own child. If your dad forces you to go, you should embarrass the hell out of everyone and raise hell in that wedding. This is Nancy. I'm screwed proud of you, a-hole. Just the wrong, absolutely right thing to do. Such perfect, absolutely horrible parents. One of my favorite things about Am I the a-hole is the tips on how to be a better, more effective asshole. OP is in the right place. Sorry, Mom. Much like all my events as a child, I just can't force myself to go. Also, damn shame if something happened to your passport, especially if there wasn't time to get a replacement. However, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Your mother is crazy if she thinks it'll be safe to travel to the US by February 2021. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for calling her selfish for being unwilling to help my mom? My mom lost her housing a week ago and has 30 days to find somewhere else to go. She was on state housing and disability, but it was turned off without warning. We are trying to fight it currently, but from as far as I can tell, she's not the only person this has happened to this month. Like hundreds of elderly are going through this. She has lupus, so she has no job. She's 59. We have a 5-bedroom house, 3 kids who have their own room, and then the 4th bedroom is used as their shared office. I suggested letting my mother move in here and letting her stay in her office, which would have to be relocated to maybe the attic. She immediately said, "Hell no, not happening." I remained calm despite her hostility surrounding the issue bothering me. I tried coming up with every alternative imaginable, and she shot down every single idea. I found it a little weird because her and my mom get along really well. Like, I'm pretty sure my mom likes my wife more than she likes me. So I finally snapped and asked her what the hell her problem was and why she was acting so miserable. "Last time I checked, you're fully aware that I refuse to be around your mother's dog. Her dog is not coming here. Her dog is not allowed here. She won't get rid of her dog, so therefore she has no place here." I honestly hadn't even thought about the dog up till this point. My mom has a Rottweiler who's like 2 years old, and he's a big boy. He's grumpy. My wife doesn't even like the dog at all. She used to get chased by Rottweilers as a kid, but never been bitten, so she won't even give the dog a chance. She admittedly doesn't like any dog outside like retrievers, but I still feel that this is rather ignorant. I told her she's being incredibly selfish for being unwilling to help my mother over a dog, and she absolutely lost it. She said that her life is not going to be revolved around taking care of my disabled mother and take care of an untrained giant Rottweiler. She said she's not chancing having this mutt around her kids while untrained, and she is absolutely repulsed that I'm not seeing how dangerous it could be. We have small kids. She said I'm being an absolute prick, and under no circumstances was she going to put my mother over the well-being of our kids, and if I can't do that, I had better see myself out. I think she's being over the top, to be blunt. Am I the a-hole? ETA, my wife is in therapy. Therapy doesn't take away fears. She said my mom could move in if she doesn't have the dog. My mom refuses. It's my wife's house. She inherited it long before we married. She works from home full-time and has the kids. I work part-time in the office and part-time at home. Now for the top of comments. You are the a-hole. I honestly hadn't even thought about the dog up until this point. At least one of you did. However, when she told you, it still didn't even make any difference to you. She said that her life is not going to be revolved around taking care of my disabled mother and take care of an untrained giant Rottweiler. Somehow you still don't get it. Edit. Following your edit. She works from home full-time and has the kids. How much harder do you want her life to be? OP, your wife is carrying the heavier load already, working full-time from home and taking care of your kids, and you want to add to it? Moving your mom in means your wife takes care of your disabled mother, potentially for decades. I can't overstate how much work this could be, between doctor's appointments, medications, more chores, more expenses, and even potentially providing personal nursing care. Your wife bears the heavy load of an untrained, exuberant giant dog, which is the same breed that traumatized her as a kid. Who has to walk the dog if your mom is ill or unable? Who feeds the dog or corrals the dog to the vet? Or has to run interference with the dog and the kids? I've got a pretty good guess already. Her work-from-home job gets pushed off to the attic, which, if I had to guess, is much less convenient and comfortable. She has to make room for a guest she didn't want, a fact that she'll think of every time she pulls down the ladder to climb into an attic to work a full day. She does all this for no thanks or appreciation, judging by your post, where you calmly responded to her hostility to the idea that she'd do an unbelievable amount of extra work. OP, it sounds like your wife has mostly kept your life afloat in a lot of ways and is drawing the line here. I think you should really consider if you'd like to be divorced, funding your own housing, parenting full-time for part of the week without her to help you, and taking care of your mom solo. Or if you'd like to look into another reasonable housing option for your mom. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for bringing my baby to her sister's performance and not leaving when she cried? This has caused drama I was not expecting. I have 2 children with my ex-husband, Will, Penelope, 12 female, and Johnny, 10 male. A few years ago, I remarried Chris. We have a 6-month-old baby girl together. Lila, Penelope, and Johnny live primarily with their father as he's closer to their school. They come to us on the weekends. Penelope is in the theater program at her school. I missed the fall shows because I was in labor and then had a newborn. Penelope understood as best a preteen girl can. Her spring show opened last week. Chris and Lila came with me. Will, Johnny, and Will's wife, Ariana, was already there. Will saw I brought Lila and got a weird look about him, but Ariana hushed him and said just let it go. Lila slept through the first half. A little before intermission, she woke and was fussy. I began rocking her and trying to calm her while also watching the play. I got a few dirty looks from parents around me. I gave them a what can you do shrug as it's a baby. At intermission, Will suggested Chris take Lila. I said she should sleep during the second half, and Chris said he wanted to watch the performance. Will started getting upset again. Ariana had him walk away. Lila did fall asleep again, but halfway through Act 2, woke up and started screaming. It was loud enough that this time it did catch the performers off guard. I quickly went into the lobby with Lila. When I tried to go back in, she calmed. The usher wouldn't let me, saying once a person leaves, they're not allowed in to prevent interruptions, meaning I missed Penelope's solo. Penelope refused to see me after the show, nor accept the flowers we bought for her. I watched her leaving with Ariana, who was consoling her. Will met me in the parking lot. He was pissed. He said I should never have brought Lila, pointing out that he and Ariana got a sitter for their young child. I said I didn't want to leave Lila and felt it was good we all supported her. After missing the fall show, I wanted to be there for my daughter. I added it was just a middle school performance. It isn't the end of the world. He gave me a disgusted look and walks away. Penelope hasn't answered my calls or text. This weekend, she refused to come over. Chris thinks we were in the right, but my parents are just as pissed and called me an ass. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top of comments. You are the a-hole. Penelope did not feel good or supported that your infant with your new husband was so loud she distracted the actors and that ultimately you ended up missing her solo to care for her. You should have gotten a sitter or at the absolute least taken her home when she started becoming distracting. It's also amazingly crappy to say it's not the end of the world that you ruined something so important to your daughter. You owe your daughter a massive apology for being selfish. And ruined it for the other parents and actors as well. And almost certainly embarrassed the hell out of poor Penelope. Like, I was a theater kid. We all talked mad shit backstage about people who didn't deal with noisy babies. If it was one of her parents, we absolutely gave the offender's kid shit for it too. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you.